Okay. I am Allison Blatchford. I think I know everybody here, which is wonderful. Thanks for being here today, everybody. I think part of why I want to share this with you guys is because so many of us that are Omaha natives still think of the hospital when you hear Immanuel, right? That's what comes to your mind, and that's what you think of. But unfortunately, when Immanuel Senior Living and the Immanuel Hospital diverged, somebody up above, way up above, decided it was okay for Immanuel Hospital to keep Immanuel, and then Immanuel Senior Living is also Immanuel, but we're obviously very, very different, very, very, very different. So, part of what I want to share to start with is that the Immanuel Senior Living Communities are 18 various different communities across 3 metro areas. So we have 3 locations in Des Moines, 2 in Council Bluffs, 3 in Lincoln, 2 in Papillion, and then the rest are here in the Omaha Metro. I love how impactful we get to be at Immanuel. We serve seniors who are at our signature communities, which are oftentimes folks who may have more means as far as money and are wealthier. But then I also get to serve seniors who come from very low income type places. And it just really means a lot to me to serve our senior population. I just think there's more and more that can be done and should be done. And so that's part of why I'm here today. So just to start, Immanuel has the 2 foundations. We have the Community Foundation and the Vision Foundation. Now if I can get my computer to work. Okay. I have a very amazing team of women that I get to work with on a daily basis in the foundation. Emily Tonages, who's Jane's daughter, is fantastic. She's our executive director. She and I jokingly say that we're kind of work wives. We work really closely, and it's very fun to have her as our director. Melissa Burgach is our donor stewardship coordinator. She does a lot of the correspondence. She reaches out to our donors on a regular basis. She's really a fantastic advocate for all that we do. Then there's me. I'm the special projects coordinator. I do a lot of really fun things. I actually have like a whole bunch of slides later on in the slideshow about what I get to do with the foundation. And then Maggie is our grants coordinator. She primarily works with the Vision Foundation side of things. And I'll go into a little more detail about that in a little bit here. So to start off with, we have the Immanuel Vision Foundation. So when Immanuel dissolved its partnership with CHI, we took a tithe, so we took 10%, and we invested that, and we found the Vision Foundation. The Vision Foundation exists to meet physical, emotional, and spiritual needs of seniors, respond to needs in community health, and support the ministry of the church. The mission was really founded on kind of what Immanuel started as. Because way back in the early 1900s when Immanuel started, they started as a hospital, and then they added orphanages actually was their next step. And then they added in the senior living. They were some of the first people to talk about senior living and how important it is to have safe housing for seniors. The Vision Foundation awards grants in the following counties. Well, in all of Nebraska, and then there's select counties in Iowa, and I'll go into that in a little bit here. In the spring, we do a community nonprofit grant cycle, and we just are wrapping that up here. The board meets in 2 weeks to kind of determine who will be receiving grants from us. And then in the fall, the ELCA churches and affiliated organizations have a grant cycle as well. At least that's how it is right now. I got permission on Friday, though, to share with you all that the Vision Foundation will be allowing churches and the ELCA affiliated organizations to apply for grants up to 4 times a year. There's going to be a rolling grant cycle, and it's really, really cool. I am really excited because I think that means we'll get to have an even bigger impact, and we'll get to be in more churches and more organizations, and I'm super excited about it. So these are the counties in Iowa that we serve. there is a reasoning for this. So if you see Pottawatomie County and Polk County, those are where our senior homes and then PACE is located. So it's the counties surrounding those that we have individuals coming to PACE primarily from, and so we want to ensure that those counties also are able to get funding from us, which I think is really awesome. So these are some of our nonprofits that we have granted funding to. As you can see, they range from really big, well-known nonprofits here in Omaha to things such as Dress for Success in Des Moines. That's one of my favorite ones that I like to talk about because that helps women who are reentering the workforce to have adequate clothing, which we all know is really important when you're going for job interviews and things of that nature. The big ELCA affiliated organizations that we impact are the Nebraska Synod, Midland Lutheran, or Midland University now, and things like that. So we have them up here as well. It's really awesome to see all these nonprofits though and think about the impact that we have across all ages in the state of Nebraska and Iowa. As you can see, we go from Nebraska Diaper Bank, which provides diapers to families in need. So we have impact on babies all the way up to our seniors, which I think is really awesome. So since we had our first grant cycle in 2015, we have designated a little over $800,000 or almost $800,000 to special projects, $3.8 million to church-related grants, $7.8 million to agencies and institutions, and almost $10 million to community grants, which is a little over $20 million distributed. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but can you explain what the difference, what special projects refers to?
Yeah. Good question. Nope, great question. I always forget to share that. Our board of directors is allowed, per their guidelines and their bylaws, to have special projects that they designate funding to. So, for example, 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was, the board of directors said, we just want to grant all of the ELCA churches in Nebraska $1,000. So they sent a letter, and if churches responded, they got a free $1,000 grant. And they could use it for whatever. It was no stipulations attached, which I think is amazing. And then the board of directors also, each board member is allotted to do a special grant just to an organization that they're passionate about too, which I think is really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question. So as you can see, this foundation is very impactful. It touches so many lives. Again, I think with the ability to have a rolling grant cycle, we'll be able to impact even more. And I'm really excited about that. I think churches especially are in need. Well, everyone's in need right now, but churches especially have a need, I think, too. So then we have the Immanuel Community Foundation. So the Community Foundation focuses primarily on the internal Immanuel family. So from teammates to our residents and participants to anybody within the Immanuel community that's in need, we are able to grant funding to. It started in 2011 as our board was seeing the financial impact from the financial crisis of 2008. In 2011, we were seeing seniors who were having to leave because their financial status had changed. And it was by no fault of their own. Everyone lives within their means as best they can, right? And you do the best with what you're given to ensure that you're able to live and live well. And so the board saw this need and granted $500,000 in seed money. This fund is used to cover a gap of the monthly fee. It's not the full amount. And we've given over $1.5 million in assistance. And so this is for residents at our mid-market or signature communities. Our residents in our long-term care program and our courtyard programs have other funding available for assistance too. But this again is for folks at our signature or mid-market communities. And it's really amazing. When you think about it, you move into a community and you get to know your neighbors well, and you get to know the people that you're in chapel with every week or you go to events with. And so to be able to continue to have those same people in your life, it's really impactful. Helping Hands is a fund that we use to help coworkers in need. So eligible employees who have some sort of life circumstance unforeseen can receive either PTO or financial assistance. It is required that these folks are full-time and have been employed for at least 90 days. It's a confidential application process. There's a very small committee of individuals that looks at each request and then determines if we're able to provide assistance. What I think is amazing too is if we are not able to provide that assistance through the Community Foundation, we work hard to ensure that these other teammates get information about where they can go to receive funding or things of that nature. In this, I need to update this slide. I should have updated it before I started talking today. But we have had over 15,000 hours and over $150,000 in assistance actually provided since March of 2010. Monetary donations are used for hardship expenses such as rent, car repairs. I know we've turned on folks' utilities for them, things of that nature. The assistance goes directly towards whomever the bill is coming from, so we kind of just say, give us the bill and we'll get it taken care of. This is my friend Alan. He works at Pacific Springs. He's one of our wellness gentlemen, and his son had some heart issues, and he was needing PTO, so we were able to get him PTO so he could focus on being dad, because that's what was important in that moment. Something that I think is really amazing is in donating PTO hours, you can designate it to a specific person. So if I were to know that my coworker was going to be out for a week and didn't have enough PTO, I could donate specifically to her, or I could donate to the overall pot. And what's amazing is that pot has never gone dry. People find a way to donate, and it's very amazing, I think, how much support there is, all the way up to the folks that are at the very top of the organization and all the way on down. It's really amazing. And then we have a lot of other funds that we support. Mission Fund helps to support our pastors and spiritual care leaders. That's really important at Immanuel, and it's really amazing how much of that lives on in our mission. Each community has a community fund, and folks can donate to that, and then we use that for special projects within the communities. The residents that live at several of our communities are very, very passionate about higher education. Many of them, especially at our Lincoln campuses, are former professors and former folks that worked at the university. So they're really passionate about higher education for folks that are wanting to pursue that. So they put together scholarship funds for our part-time employees, a lot of our servers and things like that who have worked at Immanuel through high school and early college, and they do scholarships for those folks. It's really fun. They get really excited about it, and they do special scholarship ceremonies and things of that nature, which is really special for those high schoolers, I think. Pace Christmas is one of my absolute favorite days. We do Christmas in July at our home office, which is the link off of 114th and Dodge. We play Christmas music. Jane bakes me Christmas cookies because Emily doesn't bake. And we just celebrate Christmas in July, and all of the Link staff comes together. There's about 120 employees that are at our home office there, and people come down and play games, decorate sugar cookies. It's just a blast of an afternoon. And we raise money to ensure that every PACE participant is able to get a Christmas gift. These folks are able to provide a Christmas wish list to the PACE centers, and then from there we get those wish lists and we get those gifts for those folks. And it's a humbling list. There's things such as stamps, new sweatpants, things that are pretty basic, we think, but are really important for folks to receive. Yes?
Can you be sure to explain what PACE refers to?
Yes. PACE, good question, thanks.
I don't know the answer, so.
Yeah, no. So PACE is, I don't remember what the acronym is, Pathways for Acute Care of the Elderly, I think it is.
It starts with program, I think.
Program for Acute Care for the Elderly. So PACE participants, I'll back up and do it this way because I think this will probably better explain it. PACE participants are folks that are eligible for Medicaid and Medicare, and they come to our we have centers. We have one off of 57th and Sorensen Parkway here in Omaha, and they come into that center and they receive things such as bathing assistance, assistance with dietary needs. They see our medical staff. We have a very wonderful medical staff that provides services for folks. And then we help coordinate their care outward. So say for example, someone in PACE needs to go see a cardiologist. We don't have a cardiologist, but we refer out, and that people can go to the cardiologist we refer to. And we do transportation for them too. So we have buses that transports these people safely to their appointments.
Can you
Yes,
explain
Delight.
how they're qualified for PACE?
They're qualified for, the individuals that are qualified for PACE actually are almost assisted living type, needing assisted living type assistance, but we can keep them safely in their homes. So we have aides that go into their actual houses and help with things there. Is that what you were thinking?
Well, they need to be Medicare and Medicaid.
Yeah, Medicare and Medicaid eligible. Yep. So the income level that these folks have is very, very low, and so it's very wonderful that we can help them. We've helped. I know we've helped to do things for home improvements for these folks, like putting on ramps so they can get in and out of their homes safely. Upgrading showering facilities at their homes if they're able to shower at their home, things of that nature. And it's amazing to let these folks be able to be in their homes longer. I think it's very important. Everybody knows home is best, right?
Right. How many PACE centers are there then?
So we have 3 right now.
Okay.
We have the location here in Omaha. We have the location in Southwest Iowa, which is just over in Council Bluffs. And then we have Central Iowa, which is in Des Moines.
Oh, okay.
So, and I think the hope is to hopefully add another one sometime before too long. But it's a big process to get that started, and there's lots of things that have to happen that are way above where I'm at.
And we serve 600 people.
Yeah, we serve
Wow.
600
Oh my
people
gosh,
through
really?
PACE.
Yeah.
Yep.
Between those 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So you're getting presents for all 600 people? Is
All
that part of
600
this
people.
project?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yes, Pat.
I was
That's-
gonna say
that's
it's,
awesome.
and I can never remember this either, but a program of all inclusive.
Yes, that's what it is. Thank
care
you.
for the elderly.
Yes.
And I see these PACE buses all the time,
Yeah.
because that's where I live. But, there used to be, maybe 2 or 3, and you'd see them
Mhm.
on the where the building is. But now they park in the parking lot by Immanuel Communities.
Yeah.
There's probably 10 or 12 of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. It's a huge program, and it's very impactful. PACE is probably one of my favorite places to be. Our participants are amazing, and I just absolutely, it fills my heart to go and interact with those friends of ours. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I have to admit, this is kind of taken from a presentation that I do other places, and so some of that stuff's explained before me usually. So that's a good reminder, thank you.
Good job, Mom.
Yeah. So music ministry is something that's huge at Immanuel campuses. I promise you, if you walk into any one of our locations, you'll hear the pianos going. Choirs are huge. Pacific Springs just added a new chimes choir, and they have wonderful music ministry, which is really amazing. The Resident Needs Fund is primarily for our long-term care locations, so that's going to be Newport House and Lighthouse. And that helps for kind of some of the basic needs again. things such as a bed frame. We've helped a resident get a bed frame before. Again, clothing, things of that nature that anyone would need. So then, this is my bread and butter. This is what the fun stuff I get to do. We have the Immanuel Community Foundation Presents series. This is a series that happens on a quarterly basis. And I go into every single community and center and bring in something fun for them. So the gal that is on the top there, that dress that she has is actually, the bodice is all glass work. And so she's a stained glass artist down in Lincoln, and she made this dress, and it's absolutely gorgeous. She brought it to my Lincoln communities and kind of spoke about glasswork and working with glass and how much fun that is, but how frustrating it is. I remember hearing her say that, and I'm like, frustrating? But glass doesn't cooperate. So it was funny to hear that, and it's amazing to see her artwork. I often have musicians come in. Elaine came and played her harp at PACE. The PACE participants absolutely loved it. We have wildlife encounters come and bring their animals. Everyone loves animals. It's a fun thing for folks to have around. And then on the bottom corner here, that's Jonathan May. He was doing a magic show at our PACE in Central Iowa. He's fantastic. He and I have developed a really fun friendship, and he's come to almost all of our locations now. He loves doing magic, and he loves to work with our seniors. So he's been a ton of fun to interact with. And then we have our outdoor movie night. As you can see, we take that big screen and we set it up at our communities in the evenings, and we do this in September, and we play a classic movie. And it's really fun because it kind of recreates a drive-in kind of feel. We do fresh popcorn because you can't watch a movie without that, right? And then we also have candy because, again, you can't watch a movie without popcorn and candy, or at least I can't. So we do that, and it's really a ton of fun. We started this in 2021 when I first started, and it was something that kind of was born, I think, because of COVID, but it's turned into a fan favorite, and I think it's going to stick around for a long time, which is really cool. Then we have a relationship with Gerald Dickens. He is the great-great-grandson of Charles Dickens. Oh. He comes over from Britain in the fall, and he does a one-man, one-act version of A Christmas Carol, which is really fantastic. We do that at the Playhouse here in Omaha, and then down in Lincoln, we've used Sheridan Lutheran Church to have him do his presentation. So it's really a fun thing for our residents. Everyone is of the age that, you know, the Christmas Carol was something you did every year, right? So it's kind of fun for folks to have that. And then we have, so this, again, is something that's kind of sunsetting or changing a little bit. We did the reindeer games during COVID. It was a fun way to get residents and participants active and enjoying each other safely. So it was really important that we did this. We made rain beer out of root beer bottles, which is a labor of love. We did about 1,000 of those for a couple years. So as you can imagine, those googly eyes and those noses, they are something to get on there. But it was a lot of fun, and our residents and participants really loved it. We're kind of evolving this into the winter games now. December has become more active again. People are leaving and going to see family and things of that nature. But in January and February, things are a little quieter and there's a little less going on. So we just started the winter games. This year we did our first round of it, and it was well received. We're planning to do themed. So this year was the Grinch. Next year is going to be the Yeti Winter Games. And then the year after that is when the Winter Olympics will be going on. So we're going to have the Immanuel Olympics. So I just want everyone to be ready. I think it's going to be big. And then once a year we do a very large event called Celebrating One Immanuel. This event started 15 years ago, exactly. And it was a way to recognize 125 of our residents at the time. And now we have 1,000 people that come as you can see in that bottom middle picture there, that's 1,000 people in the ballroom at the Embassy Suites in La Vista. It's all Immanuel residents, it's our participants, it's a lot of employees. It's our board members, it's our supporters, so our corporate partners who help to put on this event are there. And it's fantastic. It's a great meal. Everyone loves a good meal, right? And it's a fun way to see some fun entertainment. Last year, Kate Anderson Brower was our speaker at the event. She wrote several really wonderful books. She was an absolutely lovely person to get to know. And then in 2 weeks, we will be having Herman's Hermits come and sing and perform for our residents and participants this year, which is going to be super, super fun. The other really amazing thing is you can see the folks with the blue stoles on. Those folks are part of our choirs. So all of our choirs come together. It's about 160 choir that comes and they sing and they perform, and it's lovely. So they'll do that this year too. And it's a labor of love. Anyone who's done an event knows how event planning is, but it's a wonderful day.
I interject.
Yeah.
Nancy Robson's one of our choir
Yeah.
directors in the villages, and
Yep.
Jean Stearns sings in the choir.
Yeah,
So,
yep. And Peggy Schmitz plays as the piano for us sometimes too. So it's really cool, the connections that we have here at St. Mike's with our friends in the communities. And then we have special projects. So if you'll remember, the community funds that each community has, that's what these special projects, the funding for that comes from. We do treat bags for all of our PACE participants who get their flu shots.
Oh.
So it's really kind of nice. It's a good way to kind of add a little fun to getting your flu shot, which isn't so fun. Pianos, we've got a lot of pianos that we have gotten placed throughout our communities and centers. PACE Omaha needed a new fish tank, so we got them a new fish tank. We work with a local gentleman who does all of our altars and lecterns, so they're uniform and they look really nice. He's a gentleman that does like the base part, and then he does the wooden stuff as well. And then we work with Dave Beal. He's a sculpture artist. He has a shop in downtown Elkhorn, and he's done several sculptures for us, and he's just a fantastic artist to work with. And he helped us place the dancing cranes out at Lakeside in the Reflection Garden, and he's working on a couple pieces for us right now, actually, which is really exciting.
Is that the Lord's Supper there?
Yes, so
Wow.
that is an amazing piece of art. So that is in our new, it's a year old, but that's in Newport House in their chapel. Let me tell you a story about that. That is from the original Immanuel Church, and it was stored in someone's garage for years and years and years with no place. And when we were working on Newport House, somebody said, oh, we should place that in the chapel. And so we got it fixed up, and it is in the chapel. Also, not in this picture, but I think is really amazing, is there's a light fixture also in that chapel that is from the original Immanuel Church. And it's really cool to see these things. I would highly recommend, if you're ever at Newport House, to sneak in the chapel and take a look at that Lord's Supper in person. It's just absolutely gorgeous to see.
Which is at Immanuel Village.
Yes, it's at Immanuel Village. Yep.
And Chris Casari had the chandelier.
Chris did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that was who had it. That's
Yeah,
funny.
So she let someone know that she had this chandelier, and that's how we got it.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Funny
That's
little stories.
funny little stories, yes. It's pretty amazing when you think about it, because that, like, the woodworking is hundreds of years, 130 some years old probably, and it's absolutely gorgeous to see.
All handcrafted then,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, oh, I'm
Wow.
sure. It's interesting because it's actually two pieces, and you can kind of see the seam when you're looking at it in person. It's really amazing to look at, that's for sure. So, if you're so moved, you can always help. We always tell folks, if you see us out and about, feel free to stop us. We like questions. We always like to share what we are doing. Anytime you hear of an Immanuel event and you're like, "Ooh, I want to go check it out," feel free. I've seen Charlie at a couple events. I've seen Delight. I've seen Jane. So always feel free to come and see.
Advertise your Christmas program.
Our Christmas program is the best, isn't it? So Immanuel Courtyard, which is one of our locations down off of 60th and Sorensen, they do an amazing Christmas program, and it's a Christmas pageant. Our residents put it on, and it's just very lovely. It's moving.
It is, and the stained glass window
Yes.
in that chapel is so pretty.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Funny story. We did the movie night there in the chapel this year because it was bad weather and we were just tired of fighting with the weather. And so I took a picture and I sent it to Pastor Brian and I said, "Look, it feels like a church lock-in." And he goes, "Yeah, that does look like a church lock-in."
So you never get too old to have a church.
You never get too old to have a church lock-in. That's what I've decided. So monetary donations are always welcome, but obviously that's not what I'm here for today. But anyway, questions, discussion. I feel like I should have had a longer overview of our communities because our communities are really amazing, and I like to share about them a lot. So I can do that too at some point. I also think you guys would really enjoy Pastor Brian's history of Immanuel talk. It's a fascinating presentation, so I'm gonna shoulder tap him and tell him he should come share that sometime. Yes.
I got an Immanuel story. After the storms, I was kind of thinking about it, but that new hospital was built on the hill. They moved in 1974, I believe. So in May of 1975, I mean, after all that work to get this new hospital built in, they saw this tornado coming right towards it. You know, that someone was looking out of windows, obviously. Because it went right up 72nd, and then it kind of pulled off in the Benson area. But that had to be really dramatic for them seeing that tornado come
Yeah.
along.
Yeah.
Well, didn't it hit Bergen?
It did hit Bergen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did.
It's wild.
My mother was in Immanuel when the tornado hit.
At that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. That's wild. That's wild. Questions? Comments?
Pastor Fogelstrom's ancestors, some of our members here are ancestors of Pastor Fogelstrom, who started Immanuel.
Yeah.
And Bishop Anderson, I still call him Bishop. Denny Anderson, wrote a history of Immanuel too. And in the beginning, when you're an employee there and you read about the history and the things that started, like you alluded to, as well as, the elderly and children, but also the handicapped.
Yes, that's very true. That's very true.
And then with, the deaconesses that ran the place and the incredible, growth of it then. An excellent school of nursing was there. I didn't go there, but the history and how what started early is still there today. Split up a little bit.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think Immanuel also had, maybe Shirley knows, the daycare that,
Yes.
when I started there 40 years ago, I don't think there were so many employee daycare centers.
No, I
Right,
think it was
but-
one of the first.
Yeah.
And I remember back when they opened that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing.
So and some of those things that Immanuel Communities doing are the same things like was done at Immanuel Hospital.
I bet. it's amazing to think about all the little fingerprints of where that all has gone, and how they've taken what Pastor Fogelstrom first started with and have turned it into a very different, but still very rooted in, obviously faith, but then also in serving others. You know, it's that service. That's what drew me to it, is the service. You're serving people. You're serving seniors. You're serving the community. And that's amazing.
Even though some of the programs have changed, the core values are
Yes.
still there.
100%. Very true. Very true.
Well, and Hans Link was an important
Yeah.
part of developing Immanuel systems, right? I don't know what all he did, but he of course was a member here before too, as we talked about Vogelsberg, you just reminded me.
Yeah.
He was the administrator.
Mhm.
Was that of
And very,
Immanuel?
very tight-fisted. He, which is fine. I mean, Immanuel is able to do what they did because, you know, he was, you know, that way, but he was really a good leader, and there's a picture in one of these books of he and his wife, Jo, in her nursing uniform and them walking on campus, because that's where they met, I think, right, Jane?
Well, and so I know, Jane, you're currently serving the board, and Delight has, I mean, we've had a number, Chris Hoffman, I don't know who else been on the board, but.
Thanks to Denny Anderson, he just kept dragging.
Yeah.
Pastor Tim, we have another board called the Affordable Board,
Oh,
and Pastor Tim is on that board, and I'll be going on to that board, and Delight's on it, right?
Right,
Yeah.
I'm on affordable, I'm no longer on the main board, but I'm on affordable, and then Jane's coming off of the main board and coming to affordable.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, and that's just, a passion of mine, is trying to get affordable housing.
Well, I was just gonna ask what that role was, so it's to provide affordable housing
For seniors.
for seniors. And meaning a home, like freestanding
Apartments.
apartments, okay.
We just built Graceview and Council Bluffs, we built 46 units, the first
I think it was 26.
26, and then it filled in within weeks. And then we built the next wing, and that was full in a month, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that still tied to Immanuel then in terms of relationships, even though you built it then? So will you guys support these
We go over there.
apartments
Yep.
too?
Yep.
And then there's apartments at Immanuel Village that are HUD or affordable. And then there's a pool complex down in Papillion at Trinity Village.
Yep.
That's
I did not know
affordable,
that.
but,
Yep.
I mean, you could keep building forever and you'd be full.
They would be the courtyards
Yeah. Yep.
of Immanuel.
Mhm.
And, anyway, we're trying to build more. And it wouldn't maybe have to be build more, but maybe acquire other housing that then would be part of the affordable for seniors, that would be part of Immanuel. We're working to expand
Oh, that's,
that whole housing for seniors
oh, that's a great idea.
at affordable levels.
Pastor Brian has some really moving stories about the elderly moving in.
Yeah.
This one lady had lived in her daughter's basement for years, and the daughter and her husband were drug addicts and never let her out. And the granddaughter finally took hold of the situation and got her into Graceview. But she had Pastor Brian come and bless the area because she was afraid everything that she had before was going to follow her. All of the demons that, we just can't imagine what some of these situations are.
Yeah.
Elderly. So,
Well,
elder abuse.
I didn't realize this program existed. I
Yeah.
don't know if other people did either.
It's a separate board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the Immanuel board is over both of these foundations then, the one that you're going
Yeah.
off of?
Yep.
Okay, and then what's the other board that we just, you
The
said there's
Vis-
3
The
boards?
Vision Foundation has
They have their own
their
board,
own board.
okay. I don't know how you guys keep.
I know, it's complicated.
It's complicated, that's for sure.
There's a lot
Fast-
to
oh.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's great.
Yeah.
The resources for the affordable housing, do those come from the original Immanuel dollars, or is this a whole different?
we use some investment dollars, and then some comes from the national.
Yeah.
Yeah, the HUD funds have been drying up pretty much.
Mhm.
Jane,
Yep.
what is affordable? When you say affordable, what do you mean? I
That's a
can't,
good question.
I can't remember
I think it's you,
number,
have to
but
make under 40,000 a
yeah.
year.
I think so,
That
yeah.
would be about right, there's a certain formula for that.
Yeah.
But the HUD housing is really a low level,
Mhm.
but there's also a little higher too. You know, your income could be a little bit higher. And there's some housing like that we're looking at too.
Hmm.
Iowa and Nebraska are so different.
Yes. The rules and regulations
In
are
terms
very
of
different.
resources available,
Or
or?
in terms of qualifications.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
The Medicaid,
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Nebraska's very, call it stingy
Mhm.
with Medicaid
Mhm.
compared to Iowa.
oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Bob, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just curious, it's about what you guys are talking about right now. I'm just curious of where the funding comes for all the stuff you do here.
Yeah,
Is
that's,
it from the church or is this government or where does it all come from?
it comes from Immanuel, so,
Well, that doesn't,
no, I know, Immanuel Corporate, so there's, that's a good question. And I was gonna say, I know the vision, so for vision monies, the vision board and the vision investment funds pays for that. Immanuel Corporate pays for the Immanuel Community Foundation side of
where does
things.
Immanuel Corporate get their money? Where does it come from?
It's a conglomeration of between resident fees, and then there is federal funding that we do receive for various different programs and things like that. And then we have our corporate partners that, like for that big event that I do in May, we have the corporate partners that bring in funding for that. So it's a conglomeration of a lot of different places.
Does
Did you wanna,
anybody-
when it was at the split up
Yes.
from Emmanuel, from
Yep.
CHI,
Mhm.
there were, well, I don't know, quite a few dollars.
Yes.
That
But then-
were given to Immanuel
Yes.
Communities.
Yep.
And so 10% of that is what's used to give the grants, the
Yep.
tithing. And that was Denny Anderson's vision
Mhm.
to start that.
Mhm.
So he was really behind all that.
Yeah. Yep.
And I mean, there's a committee of finance people that work on making sure those funds grow.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yep.
it's been a big blessing to have that.
It's huge. Yeah, it's huge.
So can anybody apply for benefits from this organization, whether they're Catholic, Lutheran,
Yep.
Episcopalian, it has anything to do with
Yep.
religion, just anybody
Yep.
that is in need?
Anybody that's in need in our communities and centers. We don't,
Is there some criteria as far as economic level, as far as the qualifications? Obviously, people that need don't have any money,
Mhm.
that's back.
Mhm.
But you have to be at some criteria to qualify. I would guess.
Yes. So for the resident assistance fund, Emily, my boss, and then the CFO kind of meet to determine the need and whether, where things are for what we can provide for those residents. We don't ever look at, if they're religious or not, because we firmly believe that it's just providing for these folks is what's important at that time. So, yeah, it's very much, that's their conversation, and Emily kind of has that under wraps pretty well. So, yeah, yep, good questions.
And that was designed to hopefully prevent people from needing to move because
Mhm.
of their financial situation.
Yep.
But is there a point where they can no longer, you probably have limits as to how much they can support people?
We have not had to do that yet.
Really? Okay. Well, that's impressive.
I can say that.
A lot of that money comes from the residents themselves.
Yes.
you give a year-end gift, and they make the gift to the
Yep.
Immanuel Communities, and then that money can be used for these 42 things
Yeah.
that are available. But
Yeah.
a lot of people give money to Residents Assistance
Oh,
Fund,
interesting.
because they
Mhm.
see it as so important.
Yeah.
Our residents are very passionate about it, which is really amazing. Yeah. Anything else? Okay, cool. Thanks for being here, friends.